Hello, I'm TwanM4n, and I have you introduce yourself. You're good at that. Go for it.
Oh yeah, I'm Scarizard. I speedrun decidedly normal games, and this is my friend of many years and the fantastic runner that you will be watching play through today, TwanM4n. You
Hit me.
run some wackier games.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah.
Well, why don't you introduce us to this one and
Yep.
let the people know what it is we're going to be going through here.
So this is Stories: The Path of Destinies. I'm on kind of a boring screen here where there's no music, but I skipped through the intro because the intro is kind of long and not part of the timing. But this is a game that came out in 2016. I think this is the newest game on the schedule. I'm not certain about the Mega Man games on the schedule, but this is a pretty new game compared to a lot of the other ones. It's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure, light action RPG. We'll have lots of time to talk about it because this is about an hour and 40, an hour and 50 minutes run, so we got plenty of time. But I also wanted to skip the cutscene because I wanted to make sure I could quit to main menu, because you have to do some things to actually make sure that you can quit to the main menu, which saves about 8 minutes over the course of the run. So I was kind of paranoid, and it's like, yeah, let's just skip the intro so I can make 100% sure that I can in fact complete this run, and we're good. We got the quit to main menu, so we just skip the intro. We can talk about the intro as we go through the prologue here. But the time will start when I gain control, and I'll let you know like when I actually gain control. So we're going to go ahead and play through like the very end of the intro here. So we are going to be chasing after this rabbit here that's got a book from his mother. It's a very special book, and it's where these stories come from. And it's a very kind of stereotypical, wait, 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright, so it's a very stereotypical like Empire versus Rebels type of story, and we're going to be joining the rebels once we get this book from the rabbit at the end of this prologue.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of animals. There's some steampunk stuff. We have some of my favorite, which is Crash Bandicoot elevators, which are they're just squares that you stand on and you float around. Somebody asked, bad, obscure, or both? I would say obscure. People seem to enjoy this game. Those that actually play it, it's actually like a fun little thing. But
yeah,
I would say it leans more on the obscure side. So we're already. I'm gonna call him Jake sometimes. I'm gonna try to call him Twan. We're gonna try and use our code names, our internet names. But this is kind of your introduction to the combat. For those of you who have never seen this game, this is kind of the bulk of the run. It's really a lot of combat, very minimal like overworld navigation and platforming, and then kind of narration, like book style, for our main character, this fox swashbuckler named Reynardo. So you're seeing Twan use kind of the I would say maybe you wouldn't, I would say maybe the premier mechanic of the combat that you're going to be seeing, just to save in the interest of time, is kind of grabbing onto enemies and either slamming them off of terrain or into one another to create sort of a stunned effect, make them take more damage, and try to get through these things as fast.
Right. I'm going to turn up the game audio in just a second when we get through this cutscene. So just to let you know, I'm going to pause. Alright. Options. I'm just going to turn it all up a little bit, and you let me know. I can turn it up again. It's a lot easier to do this than do anything outside of the run, so...
Yeah. We're also going to be getting combat reports of questionable
combat reports.
I got it. It's what the people want. We're going to be getting combat reports of questionable usefulness. We're not going to read them, but because you're watching a stream and this is a video medium, you can read them at home.
So I just upgraded a sword. That's the last time you'll see me upgrade a sword. You can upgrade to like these flame and ice swords and stuff like that, and not useful for the speedrun. So, but you have to upgrade it in order to open the doors right there at the very beginning. It's just like a tutorial on how to upgrade your sword. Also, I'll go ahead and mention a little bit of the combat mechanics. There's not a whole lot going on here. You saw that there was like the very first battle was like press X to swing your sword at the Raven, and that's, you know, your very basic way to do some damage. Then you can counter by holding, you know, the joystick in the direction of whoever's about to attack you. You'll see an exclamation point above like a Raven's head when they come to attack you, and you can counter. And then the third fight I did, if you just hold X, you can grab the Raven and throw the Raven, and you can combo by throwing the Ravens into other Ravens and knocking them down, and then taking them all out in one hit like this.
Probably gonna see, exactly, kind of toss them into one another, and kind of use that to escape through this. Because it's a speed run, for those of you familiar with speed runs, we tend to go pretty fast, or as fast as possible. So you're going to see that TwanM also has the ability to sort of level up. You can spend these on sorts of, you know, do more damage, do some cool hookshot stuff, you know. Not going to be focusing on durability, which means that as we get towards the later section of the game, and one section in particular that we'll talk about when we get to it, fights can actually be very dangerous. You know, they sort of expect you to be like leveling up, you know, alongside the lethality of the enemies, but we're really going to be going into these short combat sections, hoping to throw stuff around, not take a whole bunch of damage, but it can get pretty lethal as we go. But for the early part of the game, this is going to be the most chill zone for us to talk about. I also want to touch on the plot a little bit. I know everybody that's the most important part for some RPGs. It's TwanM already mentioned, you know, you kind of have a rebels versus the Empire. This bunny just got lasered by what are those called?
Those are gogglers.
Laser? Gogglers, yeah. You take damage pretty quickly there. You see, you already took a little bit of damage just trying to run through, so you gotta be pretty careful. But the entirety of this game takes place sort of within a meta book that is also this artifact that where our characters are about to pick up right now, that is also the main sort of gameplay sort of meta mechanic here. So for anyone out there that has played games like the Zero Escape games, or sometimes people talk about Star Fox because of branching paths or whatever, we're actually, to complete this run, we're going to be finishing the game 5 times. At the end of sort of each little chapter, there's sort of a choose your own adventure style. You know, you can say, oh, I want to respond this way or respond this way, and they'll take you to different levels. And in the end, they filter you down to, I think you said, how many endings is it?
So in terms of different, like specific bad endings or truths, there are 4. And you have to like discover these 4 truths in order to be enlightened with respect to like what the actual path is to reach like the hero's path of the true ending. But there are like 26 or 27 different kinds of endings, but like 4 or 5 each lead to discovering a truth. So like 5 endings might lead to a truth about the Iblis Stone, which we'll learn about, and then 4 or 5 will lead to like this character named Zenobia and that she loves you, you know, things like that.
Yeah, so sort of the whole, I guess, gimmick or main mechanic of the game is that you play through, you reach one ending, and then when you would die or some other fate would befall you, the game's like, oh, actually, you're just reading a book. It didn't happen for real. But now you take that knowledge with you. It kind of sets you back to the beginning of the game. You can start making paths and choices anew, which is, you know, stories, the path of destinies, right? You're making choices. You're taking the different paths. So to reach that sort of true ending and actually complete the game, we need to make a lot of bad choices. So you're going to be seeing certain areas number of times. There is a lot of retreading that actually ends up happening to make sure that we can get there to the end. And we'll be enlightening to you to those truths or those sort of critical core things that our character needs to see to unlock the true ending as we get there. But here we're just chilling out in a little farm, meeting Lapino.
This is the Crash Bandicoot elevator. You'll see it more times in this run.
Yeah,
there's one in the mountains, like a snowy mountainous area that is extremely long, and it's a thing.
He wasn't that good.
Yeah. So, because we still have, you know, I would say sort of a chill time. TwanM, why don't you? How did you actually? Why did you choose to run this game? What is it about this thing that kind of got you to do? Because I know you've been working on this one for a few months.
I realized I had it on Steam and played it. And then I was like, I'm gonna run it now. Oops, I took some damage there. I mean,
which for any of you who have not run in the audience, it is that easy. I think a lot of people out there are like, I have to find the true inner calling. What's the one game I'm gonna run forever? And really, it's like, oh wow, I have that. I wonder how fast I can do it.
Yeah, and once I started speedrunning in 2014 and got into 1 or 2 games, I was just like, okay, well now I just kind of want to see what every game is like as a speedrun, and some of them I hate and some of them I don't. I just got a dash, by the way. That's important.
Yeah, so this is gonna speed things up pretty significantly, as you would imagine. Anything with a dash.
So when I do all the leveling up over the course of the game, I'm gonna prioritize dashing and movement speed, and then stamina, which are the little bars at the bottom. That was a clean fight. Because obviously I want to dash as much as I can.
Yeah, this game gets a lot of comparisons to the Arkham games, for those of you who are familiar with that, because the combat, a lot of people like it. It flows really well. You know, you have sort of context-sensitive counters. You can kind of flip between certain enemies, and so as we get through the game here, you're going to see that start to look a little more impressive. You're going to see each combat hopefully not taking too long, though there are some enemies, I know the Warlocks and the Exploding Ravens, as we get later on, that are going to be more difficult to take out, going to require a little more precision, since we are going to be sort of a glass cannon for this. Someone was asking about if this is made by a French developer. I believe it was published in Canada.
Yeah, I'm not. It's Spearhead Games, wherever they're based out of. I also am going to be very deliberate about choosing my path, because there's really only one way I can truly, really mess up this run, and it's by making the wrong choose. And so I'm gonna maybe take an extra second just to make sure, because sometimes it may drop the input if you think you're pressing down a little. Maybe you press it down a little early and it doesn't actually go down, that kind of thing. I'm just gonna play it safe.
Yeah, you got to do that right choice. Got to make sure you get the right destiny. Or just jump into this open cave. So which truth, I guess, is the one that we're going for first?
So I chose to go and get the core, which is half of this deadly weapon. First you're supposed to get the armature and then the core, but you don't even have to get the armature. The armature is kind of the chassis for the core that kind of contains it, like a physical containment of the core. But you can just carry the core around. And but we'll learn at the end of this path that the core, even though it's an extremely deadly weapon that can do lots of damage, it can't really be controlled, and if you try to wield it, you're just going to kill yourself in the process. So that's what we're kind of going to learn at the dead end of this.
Yeah, that's going to be the kind of necessary information. We talked a little about the plot earlier, but there's a frog emperor who was once a peaceful and normal kind of dude.
Old Isengrim III, I believe is his name.
Yeah. Well, you would know better than me. I just know him as the cute frog. But the evil empire started trying to find artifacts and magic things to resurrect old gods. Pretty standard mortals beyond their ken kind of fare, and that's where the core comes into play as one of the things that we're like, oh well, maybe we'll take it, maybe we can use it, and you're like, nope, surprise, terrible things will happen to kind of anyone that has it. It's sort of like a one ring situation, but it shoots lasers. And I guess we'll talk about it again when we get there, but later on you're going to be
pick of destiny. Yes. Sorry.
Later on, you're actually you have to make a pick of it. No, that's solid goof, gold star. But later on, actually, by having the core with you, our health is going to be set to sort of red blinking low health. I think it's around 30, where almost anything will take you out at once to kind of highlight how dangerous it is to have this thing. So here you're seeing kind of the storybook sort of path, right? This is at the end of each chapter. That's what choice do you want to make? So this would be what it would be like. And like you were saying, you need to be careful, make sure that you pick the right thing. The exclamation points, for anyone who wants to know, it just means you haven't picked it yet. So on later pass-throughs, you can be like, oh, what thing did I not do?
I would spend a lot of time talking about the story if I was talking about each path that we picked. So we're just kind of blazing through it for the most part. We may talk about one or two unique paths that are picked, but that's just a lot of work to talk about each of these paths and what it means when maybe there's better use of our speaking time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, we might come back around to it. I think, yeah, it's just the most important thing is sort of these 4 truths that then lead you to sort of the ending.
All right, I am gonna try a little skip here. It's kind of hard because you gotta be all the way around the perimeter and not trigger a fight. Okay, we got around it. Okay, yeah, we made it. So all you gotta do is go around the outside of that little area, and then the enemies don't spawn. So. But sometimes it's kind of wonky, like if you get hung on a little piece of like geometry, like moving around the outside, then you might move a couple pixels in and then the enemy spawns. So that saves like probably 25 or 30 seconds.
Yeah, there are a number of little skips here. Like for a game that seems mostly straightforward, I think you were telling me that you've actually found a few that you can do where things like certain doors or sort of geography look like they're loaded in. You can actually kind of skip a lot of loading triggers.
Yeah, there's just one that I think that I found I discovered independently. I don't know that other runners use it or not.
Special. Yeah. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah, I don't know if this is like a
to claim it. They can come to RPG Limit Break.
So this is a new enemy. The little worm-looking thing here is like a fire wizard. It just does like a fire attack.
Yeah, but again, kind of positioning being very important, right? You want to kind of block and use these ravens as obstacles. You know, poor ravens, man. I know. At a certain point, when you've run this game and died to certain combats enough, I know you probably don't feel any sympathy for them. But
yeah.
This fox just rolls through and starts tossing them like beach balls at each other.
So if I did want to like pander maybe just the smallest fraction of amount to like Palmer and like Parasite Eve, like there is one like very minor optimization that you do in this game that was very similar to Parasite Eve, where ideally you're contained within like a small area whenever you get into these battles, and obviously in order for me to have save just a little bit of time each battle, like ideally I would end that battle as close to the like part of the battle area that is in the direction of where I'm trying to progress next. So doesn't save a lot of time, but there are, you know, a pretty decent number of battles that you take part in, and you know, over the course of however many battles I have to do in this 2 hour 150 whatever, it's you know, it adds up.
Yeah, and I managed to get up there.
This part's scary.
You could smell charred flesh and hear screams.
Oh yeah, they're right. I can never remember their name. Gogglers. I'm gonna call them Glazers.
Some kind of burning ray. They wouldn't need to know the secret location.
This is quiet time. Serious time.
Okay. We skipped by.
Sorry for those of you who don't like our
SFX.
But I mean, everyone's had those moments where you just gotta hope. Yeah, a lot of the combat is yeah, I mean, we've been talking about sort of the mechanics of a lot of the combat, right? And just kind of moving around very quickly. Ooh, spooky. Good dodges. Good dodges. All right, you can clap for that if anyone wants to know. And I don't mean use Twitch.television emote. I mean clap wherever you are.
Yeah, wherever you are.
In your bed.
Stand up if you'd like. It's a good exercise to just stand and sit down.
Yeah, just do some stretching. Just go ahead, do a workout. We'll be here. Leave us on. Get on a treadmill. You'll be good to go. No, sorry, I wanted to give you your serious time because I know that some of these combats can actually get very tricky. You know, we were talking about kind of the beginning where it's just ravens and it's fairly simple, but you know, now we start to get a few chapters in, we're not really picking up those health upgrades, and you know, the warlock, I believe it's called the fire wizard. Is a warlock?
Yeah, well, warlock. That's what they're called.
Yeah. You know, can start adding a lot more danger to the mix. But I wanted to take a sec to talk about, you know, I think a lot of people are always like, what RNG is in the run, or like how big a deal is it, or how bad is it? From talking to you and seeing a lot of this, we're not sure if it's picking from templates of sort of encounters that it loads in, or if it's random every time, but the encounters are not static. You're not going to go to chapter 6 on, you know, your third path and always get the exact same layout, even though they will still be trickled in. So you kind of have to, one thing that TwanM is going to be doing, and it's going to become more apparent later, because this is a game that doesn't look very lethal until it is. You know, watching runs and watching VODs and stuff is like, it looks super normal until you hit a brick wall where maybe you're dying a lot of times on a very particularly tricky section. Is going to be a lot of kind of immediately taking stock of the situation, prioritizing, you know, which are the most dangerous enemies and how do I position myself in usually pretty tight areas, sometimes dodging fireballs or other things to make sure that you're going to be able to do it. Cool.
I'll skip that fight 5 different times because we have to do. This is like the end chapter, no matter what, where you're like actually fighting the Emperor or engaging the Empire. I guess is a better way to word it. There are 2 skips you can do every single time.
I clapped in real life, and a fairy came back to life. What now, caster? Well, what? Sell it, feed it, follow your heart.
Here's another skip.
Cool.
I mean, just you're a little behind, but just kind of.
No, I'm ready.
Outside. Come on. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Now, this is, we talked about it earlier, and the time has arrived. If you look up at the top, TwanM is going to be at 30 HP, and you see these cannons that are kind of firing. So this is a really dangerous section. And the reason that you have 30 HP is because you have the core with us. It's kind of firing, doing a little like turret thing on its own, so it can help out in combat. But the big downside is, of course, you know, oh, you're trying to use this horrible evil artifact that you shouldn't be using, and it kind of caps your health at this very low amount. So any mistake is near lethal. Pretty sure almost everything is going to kill from this situation. Maybe one of the basic ravens.
I can't stop thinking about how the core kind of looks like the head of the Jack-in-the-Box mascot. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you know what? You're not wrong.
That's the first time you were talking, and I'm like, you're probably saying some things that are relevant to the run. And as soon as you mentioned the core, I just kind of looked at it, and I'm like, it looks like the, you know, it's like turned on its side, because like the red part's like the hat.
Okay, all right, I'm seeing it. I mean, I was just thinking, you know, one of the little portal balls, one of the little GLaDOS eyeballs and stuff.
Here's a new enemy, by the way. Oh, okay, I hit it. I was afraid I didn't hit it. These are shielded grunts, I guess is what they're called. In order, before I get a hook later on that I can actually use to pull the shield away from them, but until I get that, ooh, almost made a mistake. Where are you? Nope, I threw it at the wrong one. Until I get that hook, I have to have another raven, and I have to throw the raven, or I can use the core, I guess. In order to make the shielded raven drop the shield, I have to throw a raven at the shielded raven. There's no other way to have the raven drop the shield without the hook, and we'll get that in the next, probably the next time I level up.
I know you didn't read it, but I have to tell you, combat report said stylish and great. So just wanted to let you know how you're doing in the eyes of the combat report. Just stylish and great.
Great. Yeah. Thumbs up.
So is this kind of the first ending? Is this our first truth?
Yeah. So we're learning here that we just used the core. We blew up everything. Oh, we did a great job. And oh no, the core is actually just not quite done yet. And it's just gonna burn my arm off, and then the core also destroys us as well. So
yeah,
that's the end of this first story.
You had to learn the hard way that using the core is extremely.
And there's one of the endings right there. Of all the little card spaces are different endings.
Are we gonna get the ending skip?
Yeah. So quit the main menu. That's the thing I talked about at the very beginning. If you start on a new game file, you can't quit the main menu, and then I'd have to sit there and listen to the narrator talk for like 2 more minutes.
Yeah, which is I feel like it's a very bizarre. It's like one of those quirks about this game that's like you would have to quit to the desktop instead of the main menu. So I don't know that it's very difficult to do, but I know it's very stressful if one of those doesn't end up going.
Well, I mean, and it's mainly just for like a marathon, for example, where like I know what I have to do in order for it to work, but I'm just like in the back of my head, it's like, but what if it doesn't work?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna skip this whole intro and pause just to make sure it says quit to main menu. Then I know that we're not going to lose 8 minutes, which I could still come under estimate because my PV is like a 140, and I think I got a 141 last time I did a run of this game, so I could still come just a little bit under 150, but let's not make it any harder for me than I need to.
Everybody has that one jump or that one trick that, you know, never gives you trouble, but you know one day it could.
It's gonna get you.
Yeah, you do not want to be you.
I want to do everything I can for it to not get me here.
Yeah, so as you can see, we're back in bright, sunny, beautiful zone, but I mean, I call it Green Hill Zone, but we actually have the shielded ravens still, despite the fact that this is the first area, right? Which I believe is just because, you know, it almost has New Game Plus sort of qualities to it, right? Like, because you've already been through and you've seen everything, it doesn't send you back to, like, you know, as you can see, you're keeping all your level ups and stuff, but you're back to the original area. So it's not always the easiest every time you come back. Because that difficulty does compound.
And you do retread, like backtrack through chapters, but the paths are slightly different. So the path I'm taking here is a little different than the path I took the first time I played through this chapter.
Yeah, oh, that's why.
Oh, great. I thought it was a little too far away, but I was able to.
Yeah, there's definitely time for things to go wrong. So far, I would say this has been a pretty good start.
Oh yeah, this is going pretty well. But first chapter, first story, not too bad.
Yeah.
The only way you can really do something bad in the first story is if you get got by the gogglers in that base chapter when you're trying to like sneak by them. That's
well, also,
that's a problem.
I mean, I think you always got to be worried about the core section, right? Just because your health is so low.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just have to make sure that the fire wizards, the warlocks, don't hit me. So you'll see like a little radius of like a blast radius from where they're like trying to cast their fire spell. Like as long as I stay out of there, then there's no real risk of me taking enough damage.
I gotta say, I feel like I'm coming around to wanting to call them fire wizards,
I mean,
because I feel like warlock is maybe a title that they worked to get. Like, you know, like a PhD, and it's like, more disrespectful of us to just call him a fire wizard.
So it's like, you know, like 3 houses where you got to pass your wizard's exam. You're gonna use that seal. Sorry, I've just been playing a lot of 3 houses.
Okay. Yeah, how terrible of you to play other good games with your time. You mean it's not all bad and obscure the way down? So we figured out the first one. Are we going to the Lupino Truth next?
Yes, we are going to the Lupino Truth. So we learned that the core is too dangerous for us to wield. We'll kill our enemies, but we'll also kill ourselves in the process. Now we're going to learn about our friends.
We're gonna learn a dark, terrible thing. One of the things I'm
gonna skip a puzzle here, by the way.
Yeah.
By just putting my face in some fire.
Yeah. Puzzles are not for speed gamers. Cheat runners.
Cheats and walk through fires is a laugh. I will not give credit to this gaming type. IGN comment sections for speedruns are great.
Yeah, you should. Don't go there. But you could. You now know that you can. Yeah. So I am not the biggest fan of the writing in this game, and I promised myself that I would be a nice person and not be very mean about it. But this goofy bunny character, Lupino, who's sort of, you know, an old friend, maybe a sidekick or something like that. It's a very relevant plot point that when we meet him, that we take note of his favorite deck of cards, his favorite deck of lucky cards. It's an important plot point. I want you all to remember it, because it's going to come up when we go on our twisting, turning narrative ahead of us.
I should figure out a way to I should have figured out a way to like avoid that story and not tell you, so that one path is the one thing I don't do. But I don't know if you can actually make it to the end without that path. I think that's one of the critical chooses that you have to make.
critical
choices. I think that's the word. Let me make sure. Outpost, yes. So we're actually doing the first 3 stories that we did last time again this time, and the 4th chapter, the 4th choice that I make is the only one that's going to dictate the ending that we get. But the first 3 are pretty fast. So I do like the art. I saw the comment about the art just now. I think that the kind of cell shaded sort of art styles pretty solid, and I kind of like the storybook aesthetic, like in between, even though we're skipping a lot of it. Like it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a thing we talked about it right at the start, right? The marathon is for bad and obscure, and this is definitely more on the obscure side than it is bad. Most everyone that I think we know that has played this game has enjoyed it. I think it's one of those that can maybe get boring a little quick. But I mean, if you like what you see, this is what you get. If you want to explore all sort of the storybook options for yourself, you certainly can.
Hey.
Ooh, jukes, juke boots.
So I'm really annoyed by this fight right now because I was gonna throw the first Raven at the Warlock, and then the second wave of Raven spawned right as soon as the first Raven was gonna hit the Warlock, and then it hit the Raven that just spawned and kind of made me adjust on the fly to that fight, because that was gonna be a really easy fight, and then the Raven spawned and just kind of got in the way. He was like, nope. So I had to like kind of ad-lib there a little bit. And
yeah,
we're here. We live.
I mean, we made deathless so far. I mean, this is a thing, deathless. Especially in. Well, not with that attitude.
Well, you know,
my friend, I believe.
Okay.
You're already making some clutch plays.
Speaking of deaths, so this new enemy, I totally missed him, by the way. The explosive Ravens are awful.
Oh yeah, that's not close.
So I'm just gonna stand back here and let it explode. They're like bob-ombs once you like engage them. They're on like a timer, and they make battles toward the end of the run pretty complicated, or not complicated, but just you have to be very careful. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, I think complicated is a good word for it, right? Because, you know, we've talked about how the encounters work, the way that they're spaced out and everything. They're little mini puzzles of their own, right? The game is like, how will you handle this formation or something, right? And when you get more of the exploding Ravens, more of the surface area, you know, like it only makes things more claustrophobic, right? There's only more areas you can't be in. More things flashing on the screen. We definitely don't get into bullet hell territory, but it's a lot tighter than you would think. I think that was when I was setting up and watching, you know, more of Twan's runs of this. I was like, oh, this seems like a very chill, normal thing, and then the back half of the run is like, you know, so dangerous for something that, you know, it kind of sneaks up on you.
So, like, I'm going to level up my combo at the very end of the run, and at max combo, once you do enough hits, like in succession, you gain the ability to one-hit and kill everything, which on the surface sounds fantastic, and for the most part is fantastic. But the explosive Ravens can make that a little complicated because you don't want to jump into the blast rate, like warp over into the blast radius of an enemy, of you know, one of those, and one hit killing those comes with a price. So it's not as simple as just like, oh, press X to win. It's press X to win about 75% of the time, and then the other 25 is press X to die, press X to lose.
Press X to lose. Oscari, style is still great. Thank you for the style update.
An appreciator of a game series like Yakuza that, you know, Oscari is. I trust Oscari's opinion on what games have great style. I worded that sentence poorly. I'm just saying Yakuza's great.
Yeah, that was great. That was a wonderful journey to go on.
I'm from Alabama.
Hey, I'm also from Alabama. You can't blame. You can't do this.
Not allowed.
Anyways, chat, if you want to, it doesn't have to just be Oscari. If any of you want to give periodic updates on how our style is doing via the combat reports, get involved.
So I'm gonna try to do the skip that I was talking about in the mountains.
Oh, the TwanM4n special.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pull the lever and see if I can position myself so that I can squeeze in between these. Nope. It's kind of hard to move once you're kind of up against the edge, but you don't have to wait for the fireballs to knock those icicles down.
Yeah, the ice physics definitely hurt your ability to do it. But that was it. You saw the TwanM
playing
special.
Cards. Go for it. Here you go. Have at it.
Uh-oh.
This is your time.
Okay, so, alright.
I'm way ahead of my PB pace, by the way.
Yeah, I know, yeah, you're going to PB in the marathon. And then here it is. Dun dun dun! Playing cards. The lucky cards whom we would never give away. So here's the thing, and maybe I'm wiling out right now. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but maybe Chad can help me out. So I'm going to spoil it a little bit because you're going to see it. The rabbit is a traitor.
No, no!
I
just...
I'm sorry you had to find it.
I'm glad I didn't... This said my notes. I'm glad I didn't throw it too far away from my desk because I had to go and pick it up.
Yeah, the rabbit. Surprise! One of the truths is that the rabbit is a traitor. And so here's the thing. I don't know. Again, I want to be nice to the people who made this game. It's a very pretty game. A lot of people like it.
You haven't even played this game and you ruined it for me.
You're right. That's what I'll do.
This is what we
don't
call
even
a
ask me
bit.
about the Harry Potter books. No, I have to go on this mini rant. Oh my God! If I grab Thar's hammer, get out of here. I have to do this mini thing. So they make a very big deal about the deck of cards. They're like, "Them's my lucky cards. I love these cards. I never go anywhere without these cards." And so our friend is lost. We find. Oh yeah, we're doing the skip 2 of 5.
So, I want to comment on Elk Sausage real quick. I've known Pat, aka Scarzard, aka Scarzard Plays, aka Slide of Handsome. What else have you gone by? I've known him for 10 years.
Yeah, I could dig out the
so that's where that comes from. Wow, I'm talking about you and I'm getting killed.
We were both roommates in a dorm that neither of us were really living in.
Yeah.
The dorm didn't belong to us, but we both lived in the dorm, and that's how we met.
Let's skip this one.
Anyways, the situation. I'm sorry, I have to get back to these cards, y'all. I will try to cut it quick. Anyway,
I tried. Oh shit! Oh, almost took some damage.
That's money. That's money into the swear jar.
No, there were 3 letters in that word. There were 3 letters in that word.
Excuse me, streamer. Run is invalid. I'm gonna need you to go back again. The playing cards. I'm back, baby. Back yelling about these daggum playing cards. So here's the situation. They're like, oh man, these are my favorite things. I love playing with these cards. They're incredibly lucky. And then you go off into the mountain zone, and your friend is missing. And you find a bunch of feathers, which I guess are raven clothes? They're clothes. You find a campsite, you find raven feathers, and then you find the playing cards. Reynardo, our daring gentleman fox sword food, yes, that's what it's called, Master, is like, oh no, they killed Lupino. But it's like, but it's incredibly clear that they were just playing cards. Like, that's the most obvious way to know that your homie was the traitor, right? It's like you just found they were playing FIFA or something.
New enemy, by the way.
Oh, new enemy alert.
So these are enchanters. They buff the normal enemies and make them
Ice wizard.
They do more damage. Oh no, I missed. Oh, I missed.
Blue wizard. Ah, big
Give me
warrior.
that shield. They buff them and they do more damage and attack more quicklier. So I want to get the buff, the enchanters out of the way as fast as I can, and I also want to get the buffed enemies out of the way as fast as I can, because that makes like prioritizing the enemies that I'm engaging a little bit more difficult. Because if there's like 6 buffed ravens around me, it's hard to keep track of which one's about to attack me next.
Yeah. Anyway, that's... Sorry, I just wanted to cap it off. That's my whole thing about the cards. I'm done with the cards now. I'm just saying, it's I don't feel like it's very intriguing. I feel like it's like you make a big point to say that this is my friend's favorite thing, and then you see him sharing, you see evidence of him sharing that favorite thing with the bad guys, and the fox's first thought is,
I had to come.
he's probably dead.
I love you, man.
They probably beat him up and
I
took his
love you,
stuff.
man. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is the part. This is
Yeah.
here it is.
You really shouldn't have.
Y'all have any like surprised face emotes or whatever? I know that happens a lot when I see runs of like Super Mario RPG when everyone learns that Mallow is not in fact a tadpole. It's that
Stabbed
kind of
him. Look at that face.
This is my favorite line. Epic Renardo. Super sexy Renardo. I'm sick of it.
Wow.
I love
Stupid,
you.
sexy Reynardo.
And you thought I was the idiot, said Lapina.
But I loved you. That's not what he sounds like. And you thought I was the
Renato
idiot.
stared at the book.
Idiot.
Alright, that's truth to you.
Alright, truth 2, baby. 2 out of 5. Learned a terrible thing about your best friend.
And
Time to go back in time and read a book.
We're good to go.
That's what you gotta do.
Parted over the
This
Isles of
is
Boreas.
real world
It was time to choose.
advice from Stories, The Path of Destinies. For those of you that want to know. If your friend betrays you and does a stab on you, just open your book. It wasn't real. It was you're reading a book, dummy. Put it down. Go take a bath or something.
Y'all were too busy, you know, sparknotes.com. That's what ruined you, is that you should have just opened the book.
The Emperor had brought the Sky Ripper pieces up out of ancient burials.
That's not a
obscene
website.
rituals. Could this be where the Iblis?
Alright, I gotta make sure I'm making... I made the same 3 choices last time, the last 2 times. So now we're actually gonna pick the armature in the middle, which is like the thing that contains the core, but we're not gonna do the core path this time, but it's the faster way to do it.
Different one. Is this the... We're not doing Zenobia, right? This is the Iblis.
No, we are doing the Zenobia path this time.
Zenobia.
We're gonna act like we're about to build the Sky Ripper, but we're not gonna build the Sky Ripper.
Uh-oh. Scandalous.
This is the part I mess up. I often go right from the very beginning, but you have to go up and right. That costs me time. So I think I'm on even more of a PB base now.
Twitch.television user Oscari asks, is there a SparkNotes for this game? Oscari, I would argue that a speed run is SparkNotes for a game.
Do you mean like a guide? Like a written guide?
You're watching it. We're doing it right now.
Oh my gosh, I got such good... Like, normally I have to wait for those gogglers to, like, move around and get in a certain position. Alright, I'm actually going to wait. I don't want to take a lot of damage at the very beginning of the 3rd story, and I'm way ahead of my time, so I'm not too worried. Oh! Okay, I still took a lot of damage. I thought I would be able to dash past that. Okay.
The Sky Ripper could destroy anything.
Okay, now we've got lots of stamina.
Now, as the one of us that did more college, what's an armature?
It's furniture for your arm. I don't know.
Badum. You've played the game. You should know what it is.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
Or you should
I
know
got
what
2
they
of them.
think it
I got
is.
2 of them.
Dunk. The dunk.
Oh, that killed me.
Oh, baby devil.
Alright.
Well, and there we go. The first step.
I'm
And you
back
gotta-
to 50
you gotta start
HP, though.
back from the beginning of the game
Yeah.
when you die.
There's 3 of these? Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, so this is...
You know what? I'm
this
just going to hit them all and get them out of the way.
We were talking about how one of the difficulties
That's
of
why
this
that was a
game,
pain.
you know, not just the combat itself, but also the, you know, the RNG of sometimes it chooses to give you a lot of the difficult enemy. And to our knowledge, it's not something where it's like, oh, 6 enemies are going to spawn in an encounter, therefore all 6 of them have a chance to be, you know, the worst one or whatever, but you certainly can get bad luck in saying, oh, we're going to get the maximum amount of Exploder Ravens. Exploder Raven also sounds like a Kojima character. Exploder Raven.
That fight can be a little tricky because, like, the arena's kind of weird.
Yeah, you're T-posing on that area.
Look at that puzzle. Left and right. Okay.
Got it. So now,
Let's see.
we don't have to litigate whether or not this is truly any percent.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because, why no? Because I used the word litigate, and we talked about this before. Though I would argue that the first time you finish the game, it's the any percent, and that if you're doing 5 finishes, that it's a true ending thing. Regardless, are there collectibles or things in here that would make more sense for something of a 100%? Like, are there things in these other paths that you're missing or not getting, or is it just more XP that could, you know, make you max out your character?
Yeah, there are the sword upgrades that I mentioned at the beginning. So you can upgrade the swords a couple different ways, and there's like oh, I haven't used them in so long. There's like these crap, I'm forgetting what they're called. They're like almost like it almost works kind of like a badge in Paper Mario, I think, like where you have like 2 different kinds of upgrades you can apply to your character. I think it's been so long since I've even equipped them because I've only done 1 casual playthrough of the game, but those would be things you could acquire as well. And by opening chests and getting like certain materials out of those chests, like I did at the very beginning of the run when I built the first sword, you can use those to like make all of those things. I could be so wrong because I've only done it once.
It's okay. No one here has played the game, and no one is going to correct you. You can say anything to me right now, and I would have to believe it. Okay. Ooh, okay. Escaped double ravens.
Yeah, I'm just gonna play it. Oh, well. Got killed by the goggler. I didn't realize there were 3 gogglers there.
Oh yeah, that's a gaggle of gogglers.
Thankfully,
right
it doesn't really cost me a ton of time.
Yeah. But this is, again, we're kind of back to having... Well, this isn't the core, right? This is the armature?
Oh my
or is
gosh.
this the core?
I don't have to worry about a PB now.
That's okay, you'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah, I'm still way ahead. Alright, we're just going to be very careful. I'm not used... Like, usually I can just, like, speed through this part.
Well, you got such a good spawn earlier. The game was like, ah.
Holy buckets. Okay. Alright, we're good. And for some reason, those 2 are side by side always.
Yeah, the thing where you have 50 health, that's a function of our little friend here, right?
No, this is if you die and restart, you restart.
Oh, you respawn with 50 health. Okay, because I was like, I don't think this is the core. I don't think you're doing a core jam.
Oh, I didn't hit the warlock there.
Yeah, see,
right,
I mean, all of you at home can see just how difficult some of these combats can be, right? And, you know, certainly, I don't know that I would call this a very difficult game, because, again, through your normal playthrough, I'm reticent to call them casual playthroughs, through a normal run of this game, right? You're leveling up a lot, you probably have... you know, some of the sword augments, enchantments that we were talking about that can certainly make combat a lot easier, but when you're really trying to squeeze kind of every advantage out of the game in this glass cannon area as the game moves on, as we get into, you know, the 3rd, 4th, 5th runs, very, very stressful. And the sections take quite a bit longer to get through, because the actual moving from, you know, first path, second path, third path is not that time consuming. It really is kind of the finessing later on as you go. Wow, style. Oh, thank you again. Oh,
yeah, I saw those updates.
Style update. Combat report style awesome. Love to hear it. So this, I'll give a quick. Those of you who want it, I know at least one person does. Give a quick story update for what's happening here. Zenobia is a cat, I think.
That's what I'm inclined to believe.
Yeah, I believe she's a cat. She is the adopted daughter of the Frog Emperor, and also the Frog Emperor's best general, and also a childhood friend of yours. You studied Sword Fu together.
It's one of those like childhood like school rival, but we also love each other type things.
They really went all in on making this character. I think they were like, well, we don't want to make 2 or 3 characters, so let's have her be all of them. They're like, she's the love interest, and also the rival, and also...
There are many tropes being invoked there, for sure.
Yeah, she's got a lot of them. But she's pretty cool, so I think it's okay. But anyways, oh, and you want another trope? Well, I guess we already mentioned it, but yeah, the truth that we were headed before, TwanM4n, cup your ears. Only checking here, this is a spoil.
I'm fine.
She's in love with you. That's the truth. That's the thing we gotta know. Because... Renardo is going to be like, oh, but I have to fight against the Empire. but she would never fight with me because she is the Empire. And the truth is going to be, probably you're going to die, I think. And she's going to be like, you idiot, I loved you the whole time. And you're going to be like, sweet, write that down in the book. Remember that one for later.
Cool.
Can I get you to text that to this book? I need that one. I need written proof. Or otherwise it's not a truth. Wow, 46 combo. Wow. Your point total, your style. I'm sorry. It sounds like if it sounds like I'm mocking the runner, it's because I am. I guess I am. I guess that's what I was doing. And here he is. Here's the terrible little frog. He is cute though. I love little baby frog king. You always hear about a frog prince, but you never really get to see what it's like when they take the throne. Yeah, and here it is. This is, and let this be proof to you why it's a dangerous situation.
Now we're going to the mountains again.
In the mountains.
I say that out loud so that I make sure I choose the mountains and not the outpost, because we also go to the outpost a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to do that skip again with the icicles.
Oh, the
in this
TwanM
chapter.
special. TwanM skip, as it will be known.
Again, I'm not certain that the other runners don't do it. I just know I discovered it independently.
I'm certain.
The Emperor would have to seal that bargain with the life of someone.
I just want to make sure I'm covering myself.
And who else?
It's okay. You say it, I'll say the other thing. That way we're both covered.
Why did she ever believe
You can see like the sparkly normal ravens here. Those are the ones that are buffed. And they attack a little faster and a little stronger.
Yeah, so you gotta prioritize.
Oh, yep, they did a lot of damage right there.
Now, are there like health pickups around that you aren't getting, or
there are
are
some.
you just meant to like?
There are some like boxes and vases that you can break, and then sometimes little peaches I think fall out, and those peaches like can give you like I think 10 health, but like it's 10 health.
Right. So it's not like one of those situations where you're like, oh, okay, I'll go a little slower, and maybe it'll be okay. It's like, well, it's not even really worth it.
Sometimes they'll come out in like 2s or 3s, and then it's like, okay, 30 health, but like, it's just like, it's whatever. And sometimes they don't spawn, so like, I'll hit a box and nothing's in there, and it's like, well, that's awful.
And in true speed game fashion, just don't get hit.
Yeah.
You know, if you just do the game good.
Just be better.
Yeah, easy.
Oh, I gotta get out of the way. Okay.
Wow. Yes. This ravens go to the gym an hour a day. That's why this.
Oh, oof. I hate dying at the end of that fight. So when you're like grabbing, I was grabbing one and trying to throw it into another, but another one was attacking me, so that kind of made that awkward.
This is great because the people at home are on more of a delay than I am, but I'm on a slight delay, so I get to kind of lord my sense of knowing what's just about to happen over you, but at the same time, I get spooked and surprised. So it's a little slice of humble pie for me, because I think, TwanM's made it through this perfect combat section, style great.
I thought that was the long elevator ride, so I got some water, and it's like, nope, that's not the long one.
See, even that. Just got on the elevator, heard, oh crap, what could that mean? It's like kind of a double. It's kind of a double fun for me.
It's a different mountain level where we have the really long elevator ride.
Oh, is this it? Oh, are we doing the? Is it coming up?
With enough leverage,
The TwanM special.
There it is. All right.
giving away the location.
I at least got to show it once.
Now that one you can clap for with Twitch.television emotes. You can clap. You can still clap at home. We will feel it and hear it and know it in our hearts and minds and souls. But if you would like to do
Pogging off.
emote,
What have you done to me?
pogging off.
Pogging off.
You demanded.
That's if anyone look when that catches fire, we'll know.
So what?
We'll know pogging off.
Donato.
Another TwanM
I
original.
love that about me. You really did win the court, didn't you?
I'm very surprised by how well this has gone, even though I've already died like 3 times. The only one that really cost me a lot of time was the most recent one.
Failed to spot. I am so relieved.
Anyways, this is Zenobia.
I like the
She's
voice acting
way
by the-
cooler
by the
than
frog.
you.
And Zenobia got into a ship.
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over.
No, it's good. I can't hear it because I have to mute the stream, so I assume it's I'm so relieved.
No, it's a little deeper. It's like I'm so relieved, my daughter.
I'm so relieved, my daughter. Come back and help me do an evil on it.
The odds are surely against him. Never tell me
Probably
the
what it
odds,
sounds
he told himself.
I guess.
There's also a really good point where like the far speaker or whatever, which is like a toad that uses like
Sailed on to attack the fleet.
like kind of like it's like kind of like a Mewtwo type of thing, not Mewtwo type of whatever. Like it's relaying a message from Zenobia, so the toad is like trying to talk using Zenobia, you know, it's trying to sound like Zenobia, imitating Zenobia, and it's kind
Oh,
of,
that's what you meant by Mewtwo. I was like, wow,
I
where
don't,
are we going?
I'm not Pokemon.
You're not? No, no. I think it made sense. I was just. It took me a second.
I was trying to think of like a some pop culture sci-fi equivalent. Okay, let me not miss this. Okay, we did it.
Well, okay, a pop culture sci-fi equivalent would be the aliens from Independence Day. They do that.
Okay.
Yeah, they use a person.
and
to talk to
I
that
guess
person.
the thing that would resonate with me the most would be like I think in Mass Effect. Ooh, like
Yeah, Mass Effect as well.
whatever they're called, the evil alien race kind of does that too through. Oh, let me just get out of there. Okay.
Elk sausage. I gotta tell you, I appreciate the positivity you're bringing. What you can
we're
do,
fans.
what you can do, is watch us individually, where then we also do sometimes speak to each other. So and then just do it in your mind. Get so used to the way we both speak that you can come up with your own stories, the path of destinies of yours.
Of yours. I'm a
It's
big
like a
fan
little
of.
story. It's like a little story you made.
I'm a big fan of Dr. Steve Brule, and the way he says "of yours" in his skits is something I really like. You can make a puzzle of yours.
I gotta say,
You can take your pictures and cut them up into pieces.
It's a homemade puzzle.
You don't know how to put that thing back together, you dingus.
This is. I do want to say while you're death defying here, because this is the end of the third path basically.
Correct.
Anytime you're at these kind of Mario, they always make me think of Mario, the airships. Maybe that's weird of me. Maybe I'm normal, and
I'm
that's
gonna
normal.
store my stamina here for this fight. I'm not gonna dash.
But as we're kind of nearing the end of the thing here, I do want to say, can we give it up to the people doing this event? I think this event is a very cool
absolutely.
idea. This is something, I think definitely has a different vibe than, something like an awful block at a GDQ, right? This is just, my favorite thing about speedrunning is people that, I don't know, find
I'll
and
dash right into that.
weird games. And I gotta say, we're only the second run of the day, and judging by Willow, how this is already a lot of cool variety. So, any of y'all who are out there keeping this stream locked on your second monitor, on your phone, on your old-timey radio, I'm sure they have Twitch. Any way that you're imbibing this stream, you're in for a treat, man. This is a really good one.
So glad you're here.
So glad you're here.
You will be witness to my.
You will be witness to my final victory.
That's gotta be the thing,
That's
right?
creepy, Dad.
Because of your shenanigans, we tested.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google that.
It's really unstable.
I can hear you googling it.
Yeah, I can do it.
Said Renato, a little frustrated that she'd figured it out.
I was like, I'm pretty sure Final Victory was like a World War II thing. This game does a thing where it basically just does a lot of references in its writing. Sometimes where it'll just literally say, praise the sun, or we must construct additional pylons. And I'm like, pretty sure Final Victory is a thing.
Of his daughter. They took him out of his dungeon
Their
cell
quest,
and gave him
the
all
script's
his
quest to
medals
just
to wear. A
consume
little while after that,
all
the lost gods
references.
returned, and the sun went black on the
So
empire
basically, we tried to
of
convince
soul.
Zenobia that the Emperor's like gonna sacrifice her, and she's like, nah. And then he
just
did.
like that,
That's
Yeah.
what happened there.
alive again.
And that's where like, wow,
On the
she
Farfarer,
does a love on
still
us.
fleeing, burning.
And quick main menu confirm.
All right, yeah, get that main menu skip. One of the weirder
Clouds
things, I
parted
still
over
can't
the
get over
Isles
that. I
of
think it's so
Boreas.
odd.
It was time to choose.
It's like if you have a
The
specific
rebellion
file,
was
you
in
can only
trouble.
go to the desk.
Ravens are scouting for the secret rebel base. They
We're
needed
already
a
on number
game
4.
changer.
We're already
Pieces of the
on
sky
number
ripped at the
4.
surface.
the fourth path, the fourth truth, and this one is something that Nick, done fire in the chat, affectionately calls the Iblis trigger.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and set the stage for us here? What's our if you don't have to tell everyone the fourth truth, but to my knowledge, we don't even come into contact with this thing before this point.
Correct.
So this one kind of comes out of nowhere.
And also,
it's like, in terms of like the kind of like literary device or whatever, like the role that it plays, I feel like it's not all that different from the core. It's just this like mysterious rock. You'd think I'd care a lot more because I'm a geologist, but it's this kind of like, okay, well, it's just a rock that's evil, and it gives you like powers to do stuff. Like what the text says right now, kind of are like the stories about what this rock is, and you're like, oh, if I get this, then I'll become ultra powerful and drink everyone's blood or something.
Is the truth the same truth as the core?
No,
you find it and it's like, oops, it's bad actually.
Actually, yeah. So it does effectively work like that. That the core will like corrupt you and turn you like super evil, which isn't exactly how the core. I feel like I just said core twice, but the core is just too powerful for you to handle. But the Iblis Stone.
Anyone here that's ever gone to the gym knows the core is too powerful for you.
Oh, this is a bad combo. I'm just gonna hit you.
Illegal combo.
Oh, I almost I almost jumped into the blast radius of that. Anyway, but yeah, so this evil rock kind of like just takes over your soul, and that's it.
So is the
I don't have anything.
okay?
Never mind.
So is the truth that the rock is going to take over your soul, or is the truth a way to not have your soul get got?
It's that it takes over your soul and makes you evil.
Okay. Because that's the one I don't know how we use it in the royal narrative way.
Oh my gosh, I'm taking a lot of damage. Okay. Oh, didn't hit the explosive rating. Okay, I'd need to reset that anyway. I took like 3 hits at the beginning of that fight, and I was like, well, this hasn't started out well.
Well, because the other truths, right, are things that you presumably couldn't know until you experienced them yourself. This one is like, wow, legends say this rock's evil as hell. And then you see the rock, and it's evil, and you're like, well, guess it is.
It's the first episode or whatever of Arrested Development where Michael Bluth opens the bag that says dead bird. He's like, I don't know what I was expecting.
Yeah, that's the truth. It is, in fact, an evil rock. Rock like the rock?
It's just a black almond. You'll see it in a second.
Yeah, it's like a spooky mean rock.
I'm gonna be very careful about how I navigate this area because I don't want to take a bunch of unnecessary damage from these fireballs.
So, Jake, you mentioned it. You're a rock scientist. TwanM, right? My bad. Sorry. Now everyone will know your truth.
Refer to me as twitch.tv/TwanM4n.
Yeah. Twitch.television/TwanM4n.
Yes, exactly. The second.
You're a rock scientist.
That is correct.
You've got a study in rock. What is? Sorry, you're doing combat. I'll wait.
No, you're good. You're good.
What is the most evil rock? Is it obsidian? That's pretty ominous.
I mean, I think
you're probably gonna tell me that's not a real rock.
I feel like asbestos is pretty bad. I guess I gotta be on the other side.
Is asbestos a rock?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a mineral.
Yes.
What?
I thought asbestos was like, don't breathe it in.
Can we just?
It'll be poison to you.
Boot this kid out of the general.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
Or out of the.
The reason that I'm trying to ask, and maybe it is asbestos, is Oscar. You know, people were talking about like, is the Iblis thing we're going to find? Is it like Dwayne the Rock Johnson? I was trying to think if there was an evil, dark version of the Rock. What would his name be? It couldn't just be the Rock, right? So I'm thinking, well, what's the most evil rock? And I guess his name is asbestos.
Well, I mean, it looks like obsidian. Like you can see it here. It just looks like an obsidian, like sculpted into an almond.
Okay, Nick's backing me up here. Asbestos is a rock that turns into bad lung dust if you do a dang on it.
That's written in the
asbestos
publications.
I knew asbestos is the bad lung dust. I didn't know that bad lung dust came from a rock.
And they're little fibers that like just pierce your lung and make you sick, basically.
What's a? Hold on, I'm sorry. This is where you're like you're at an important juncture in the story of the game, and I'm trying to figure out what's a name that sounds like but isn't Dwayne.
I mean Wayne. I don't know how far, you know, that's a little too close, but
let's see. What does Google say about names similar to Dwayne?
Well, I knew we were going to go in a lot of different directions over the course of this run. This wasn't.
Alright, I'm going to close this Google tab because it gave me Urga and Hecuba. I don't think any of those are like Dwayne. Anyways, yes.
That sounds like, you know, the opposite.
I'm going to close this chapter of my life, and I'm going to declare that the evil Dwayne the Rock
Blaine's
Johnson
a good one. Blaine's a good one.
Is Blaine. Oh, thank you, everybody. Blaine
the Cinnabar.
I was gonna say Blaine the Asbestos Jordan. That's the evil.
I was doing the Pokemon and going Cinnabar.
God, everyone came up with Blaine immediately. It's okay. I stayed up a very long time to be able to do this, which you can tell considering the last 2 minutes of the words coming out of my mouth. Shane? Aw, dang.
Yeah, Shane's a good one.
Dane. Oh, I like Dane. Dane is bestest Jordan.
Where did that go to?
I gotta get the shield out of the way. There we go.
Shoutouts to all of you. Golf clapping for one another, coming up with rhyming names. This owns.
The stone.
Oh yeah, Shane, very good. Oh, I like Dane. Oh, this is good. Wayne. Blaine is a fire scientist. It's true. Well, fire and rock kind of like each other. They kiss and do magma. That's what that is. They hang out. They share. Sure. They hang out together in a volcano. They're friends. Really big disappointment. Don't worry, I'll do better. Well, so really, Elf, I'm doing a concurrent speed run. Quickest streamer to be invited to do commentary for one of Palmer's runs and then not invited back. So if you think about it, my disappointment of coming up with the good name is really playing into my strategy. You're able to witness. You've got a speed run on stream and a speed run in your ears. 2 in 1.
Yeah, Framp, the voice for the Iblastone's pretty good. I like it. Don't do it. Don't pick the core.
Oh, is that what it's doing? It's whispering?
Yeah, it's got a weird, like,
I was gonna do a Doc Brown.
No, Marty, we can't do it. It's too much power. We'll rip a hole in space and time.
Had a sudden impulse to do exactly
that's my 8:33 a.m. attempt at something that sounds like
felt invincible.
A sort of Doc Brown.
So I forgot to skip there. Like a couple seconds played where I didn't skip, and it's because for some reason the B to skip doesn't pop up, and my brain doesn't happen correctly.
I mean, who hasn't? Whomst among us? Let they without sin cast the first evil stone.
Smarter. I'm not in Alabama currently. I am from Alabama. I currently live in a land far, far away from Alabama. It's called Georgia.
Yeah, what you'll learn, Elk Sausage, about people who are from Alabama is most of them are not still there.
There's some good folks there.
Oh, certainly.
Well, I knocked the shield guy off the cliff without even touching him.
Dang.
Anyway.
Good comp. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say perfect style. Oh, it said style good.
It didn't even seem like I dominoed into him. It seemed like the Raven was just like, what? And then just kind of slipped off the back of the cliff there. Get the buff one out of the way.
Stupid, sexy Raven. Get that Raven. Alabama and Georgia with the same players. I
mean, Atlanta is basically the thing that differentiates the two of them. If Georgia didn't have Atlanta, I would be inclined to agree with you.
Yeah. Well, there's also not many, I would say, this is not a dunk on either party. I would say not many video games are big into football. But I would say Alabama
football games.
Well, and that's a very special Venn diagram. I was just gonna say, I think Alabama becomes a more notable place on the planet Earth if you happen to know a lot about it.
There's no one back there. Okay, sorry. I thought there was an enemy back there, and I just hooked back there and started pressing X, and nothing happened. Anyway.
Georgia Bama, we've got to best those guys. That's great. I love that. Someone not from the U.S. would not convince George is real. Well, maybe it's not.
He called the Countess, and she was. She wanted him to come back to base. They had plans to discuss, and a medal to give him.
Okay.
A large, golden medal. Great.
I like Texas.
Let's talk about who else I can kill. Then the far.
I haven't spent a lot of time in Texas, though.
Hello, Renato. It said.
Did Pat blow up?
Me?
Oh,
No.
you just... I was like, he's not...
I was intensely focused. So, okay. So
I was like, you've been talking a lot, and there's just nothing.
No. Here's the thing. I was reading chat because I thought, hey, part of my job here as an entertainer / commentary is to read chat. And then here's the thing a little bit. Gotta say, people in chat weren't being that funny. So I kept reading each thing. I was like, I gotta look for a goof to kind of bounce off here. Then everyone was just... No, and I'm not. I didn't mean that in a mean way. Everyone's just like stating facts about where they live and talking about where they live, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice."
Okay. So they weren't like making bad jokes. They were just saying things that weren't jokes.
Yeah, I just zoned out for a bit to read about like the real places.
Yeah, you were just learning about people. I gotcha. Yeah, no. You were doing knowledge.
Yeah, that's all. Sorry, I had to retreat into my mind palace so that I could understand.
Get out of your way. Nope. Okay. Whoa! What just happened there? That bird just flew right by me and died. That was.
I love that.
That was a trip.
Yeah. We don't.
That would be amazing.
We're not too upset about those.
This isn't glitchless.
This is chapter 4 of the 4th one, right?
Yes.
We're around. Okay.
That was easy.
So so for those of you that are like, oh, what a nice thing. Bad stuff's probably about to happen when.
That one just fell off the edge!
Oh, what's happening to these birds?
It just spawned and was like, nope.
That's extremely that for those of you who've seen it, the Luigi, the Mario Party thing where all the other characters just roll the ball off. That one was like,
it didn't fall off the edge, it just spawned off the edge, I guess is what I was trying to say there. Oh, I missed it. Oh, okay. At least I got your shield.
Self-yoting.
Oh, there's one more. Oh. Come here.
Sword.
I've seen that a couple times, but not like in back-to-back fights where like the Shield Raven just like I will. Hey, Shield Raven, if you just want to spawn in like a death plane, like absolutely have at it.
Yeah, that's incredibly good.
That's the RNG that I live for.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a bunch of exploding ravens. Sometimes they spawn in a kill plane.
That was a good fight. Let's see if we can skip again.
Oh, are we back at the TwanM special?
The TwanM special.
Never before seen. I'm so excited you got to show it off in the marathon, so everyone got to see the trick you came up with.
When I think about what bad games are relative to this, like it's like bad, like The Room, right? Like that's what I think of when I think of bad games for an event like this. Is it's got to be like bad in a funny way, and this game has some things that people may not be a fan of, but it's not like bad in like a.
Yeah, this is like functional. Oh.
I kind of stopped there for a second so that I didn't take damage.
You still got it. You still got it though.
He was on a fool's errand, the Emperor's daughter.
No, but I mean, it's like, yeah, the game is functional. It's got voice acting that is, for the most part, pretty good. It looks good, right? I think we all agree the visual style, the environment, right? Like, it's one of those things that it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess if you go into this looking for the most ridiculous AAA quality video game, maybe you're going to be disappointed. But you certainly, I don't think, could play this and be like, yeah, it was bad. When you compare to some games that get run, on things like Awful Block that like barely meet a working definition of game. They're like deconstructed interactive beat boot town. It's like that's not really You know, some of those are bad, probably.
So
you know,
there,
whatever E.T. and Superman 64 are.
So there are a couple ways to learn these truths based on how these stories branch out. So what happens right here is Zenobia pours drowsy gas on us, which kind of knocks us out, and then she takes the Iblis Stone from us, and then she gets corrupt and kind of does all the bad stuff. But there are other ways it plays out where, like, the Iblis Stone would corrupt me or Reynardo. There might be a situation where the Iblis Stone corrupts Lupino, for example, depending on, like, your initial choices after, or the choices that you make after you go to the temple and actually acquire the Iblis Stone.
I also have to say, I have to make some commentary on Reynardo's character. This is one of those things, it's kind of a narrative dissonance where they make your character out to be this, like, Han Solo dude that's constantly hungover, but the things that you do in the game are, like, I would say rather impressive and require you to be dexterous and alert. So there's just this thing where it's like, oh, Reynardo woke up and, oh, he had such a splitting headache from the sheer amount of drunk he was doing, you know? And it's just like, okay, let me do triple backflips and throw these ravens around.
But he just felt dumb.
See if we can go 3 for 3 on this skip.
Carved his way towards probable
Yeah, we're good.
Wait, and wouldn't this be 4?
Oh yeah, no, this would be 4 out of 4, right?
Yeah, 4 out of 4.
Well, 4 out of 5, but we haven't done 5 yet.
Well, 4 attempts, 4 successes. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna do another one soon.
Let's get that out of your hands real quick.
To be fair, less honor. Eye patches, pretty sweet.
How many times am I gonna miss that shield? Okay.
I want to say this, and I feel like depending on people's experiences with this particular website, maybe they could take this to be an insult. I feel like this is like DeviantArt as a sentient video game. Like, it's come alive and it made its own game. Like, and I love the indulgent choices, right? That you're like, everyone's got eye patches, you know? Like, the animals are goofy, but they're also swashbucklers and super good at everything. You know, like, it's just incredibly OC airship adventures. And you know what? I'm here for it.
I do like, I know you mentioned the writing earlier. There's something about the way that they're just very heavy-handed about references to other franchises, not really video games, but just the call-outs, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's just, I understand why people would not like it, but at the same time, it's just like, he read a thing that is inscribed, it said, praise the sun, you know, we talked about that last night. It's just like, wow, that's just like hit me right over the head with that, huh? You didn't even like introduce it in any contextual way.
Call it a reference, right? If someone in the game is praising the sun and then makes a mention of it, you're like, oh, that's cool. But this is like, wow, he found a piece of text that said the video game words that you're now reading in the text box of a video game, right? It's like, okay, it's basically just graffiti. At that point, you're basically just taking famous video game phrases and throwing them on my screen. You're assaulting me with references to things that I may not even know.
That's what I was trying to do. Oh, so you can also like pull them into one another like I did just there, but it's kind of hard to do, so I don't like try to do it. I just happen to do it on accident sometimes. No, just grab and throw. There we go. Oh, okay. That was a quick strike from the buff Raven there. We made it.
Yeah, DX, I don't know if there are other time-looping RPGs with animals specifically. Because I want to say in my research for this game, I think, you know, one of the things that kind of carried it over the edge to being lauded and, you know, winning some acclaim was the way that it was like, hey, we're going to be a literal choose your adventure book story, you know, and, you know, the narrative device is a literal book, everything like that, right? So, I mean, maybe there's another game that's eerily similar to this. All right, so yeah, so here's Zenobia doing a bad. She ate the Iblis rock. Dane the asbestos Jordan has with all their drowsy gas is doing evil.
Oh wait, maybe he takes it. Wait, hold on. Maybe I've forgotten how the story works.
Yes, he thought.
Oh, we'll find out. This one's new. That's the thing. We decided as a goof that your hosts / runner for today, we would just forget a period of the game so that we could experience it with you first time.
Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, she just... We're good.
But look at that. Oh, that face.
She was like, come here and I'll give you the stone, and then, you know, we kind of got stabbed.
It's like when Princess Peach is like, Mario made a cake for you, come to the castle. But the cake is murder.
Yeah.
In this case.
You could say it was a lie.
Don't, God, I will reduce you to a distant memory.
I think they referenced that in the game somewhere.
I'm sure they do.
The Isles of Boreas. It was time to
We've learned a lot in our first, what, hour and 13 minutes or so of this. No, I guess I started my timer a little early, or a little late. But now we're gonna put everything together for the final.
Yeah, we've learned. And let's do a recap at home for those of you. Things we learned. 1. Our rabbit friend is a coward and bad. 2. The adopted daughter cat general, who was our best friend growing up and better than us at sword fighting, is for some reason in love with us instead of anyone that would be better for her. 3. The core is bad and you shouldn't touch it, or bad will happen. 4. The evil rock, the Iblis stone, is also bad, and you also shouldn't touch that. So with those 4 truths, the final true ending can reveal itself.
Maybe Renato could use that somehow.
So you see the key here, it's just letting you know, like, here's the path, like very heavy-handed,
yeah,
pick
it's like
this one.
Yeah, you should go this way now.
Yeah, like you've done all the things that, like, you can get other endings, but you're not gonna get the ending if you don't do this.
Yeah, he's like, Renato didn't know when he suddenly knew that Lupino was evil, but he did know.
If Renato could prevent Lupino from getting back to the fleet with all the intelligence he probably gathered, it might be worth the trip.
Apparently, these developers made another game called Omen.
Yeah, Omen Sight is the game. I heard and saw the X-Man talking about it in chat. Yeah, Omen Sight came after this.
The other time looping branching path.
Renato had rescued Lupino from at least 2 lynch mobs.
Well, there we go. All right, and now we're back in Green Hill Zone with your favorite friends, James Marsden and Jim Carrey. I haven't seen the Sonic movie yet, but everyone knows about that. The greenery.
All right, we're gonna make it.
All right, good save.
We took some hits, but we are here.
Felt that the rabbit resented him.
65, not bad.
Because
You feel
he
you
was so
can
down on himself and everyone else.
hold up. James Harden is in this game. If you believe.
I'm gonna put a point into health.
Is that what I said? I thought it was. I definitely attempted to say his real name.
James. Wait, what are we talking about?
Well, because you came back here and I called it the Green Hill Zone, so I was talking a bit about the actors from the Sonic.
Oh.
Which is James Marsden. But apparently I said something else in my delirium. Featuring Reynardo's Miles Hales per hour. At least one person hasn't heard this before, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say it now. If y'all didn't know, his name is Miles per hour, like miles per hour. That's why his name is that. If y'all didn't know. Someone was today years old when they found that out. How would you route your speedrun of watching the Sonic movie? Well, I did the Sonic movie skip, which was make a plan to go see it and then don't. So I'd say that's probably world record. It was me. Oh, we got one. Okay, there was one. And now you know. And now you too.
And now we're one hitting everything.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah,
now that I've leveled my combo up.
Which is, yeah, again, going to be pretty good until more of the Exploding Ravens show up. And then what? You're just going to basically be throwing them?
Yeah. Oh, that worked out.
Yeah, well, here you go.
Oh, I got 2 of them there. Cool.
Ooh, oh, that's good. Yeah, that Miles per hour thing, that's not a goof by me. That's real life. I wasn't trying to be a slick sleight of hand word man. That's that's real. That's the why they did the thing. And now you too can start trying to feel out social situations to see if other people possess that knowledge, and if they don't, tell them yourself.
So right at this point, Lupino's trying to trick us into following him, but we're like we're smart.
Yeah,
now,
we know
so.
the truth. Yeah, we know he's a bad guy. We know the core is a bad thing.
So we could confront Lupino right now and be like, "You're a traitor. I'm gonna kill you," but we have other plans. So we're gonna actually use the fact that we know that Lupino's a traitor to our advantage.
Yeah.
And that's what this chapter is.
DX asks if we're in PB pace, and I would say, for as long as we're not thinking about it, we are.
So I initially said that I was, like, much earlier, and I may still be, I'm not sure. But I started my timer a lot later because I have my own timer that I'm using, because the splits tell me what choice to pick. So I thought I was like 5 minutes ahead, but it's like, no, I actually think I started like 3 minutes late. But, you know. So I may still be ahead, I don't know. I mean, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, so on top of, so it's basically get ahead of your Trader Bunny friend, who's gonna go, who would try to otherwise do evil with the core. So you're kind of sneaking around him. You're like, no, I know you're up to stuff, and now you're going to go confront Zenobia, and you're gonna be like, hey, I know you love me. Don't ask how I know. It's magic. Also, I know the weird, evil, sus stuff that your Empire family is getting up to. Join me instead.
I'll wait for this goggler to turn.
I gotta watch out for these.
Kill it, I would say dash into this, teleport, and then we kind of skip through some stuff here. But
I guess I'll wait for you to be done with this section. But I would say overall, with the exception of that one unlucky zone with the gogglers, I feel like they've been nice to you.
Yeah, it's gone
so far in this run.
So here's where we trick Lupino into taking the core from us, I believe. Or no, so he got jumped and took the core from him, and then he says he's gonna like leave and take it back or something along those lines. But we're just letting him take that corrupt thing, that dangerous thing with him, and we're gonna let the Emperor take the core from Lupino and blow themselves up. That's how the end's gonna work here.
Yeah.
Even her. That's it, he thought.
Yeah, I'm still hazy on what the whole plot point of the Iblis Stone is, because we just know it's bad.
So, you're going to love this trope, I think.
Here we go.
So, Zenobia does take the Iblis Stone and she gets corrupt by it, but when we learn that she loves... Well, yes, so when we learn that she loves us still, we tell her, but I love you, and then it's like, well, it doesn't have any power anymore.
Amazing.
I get the core and the Iblis Stone confused in my head because they're so like similar.
Yeah. Well, it's like one shoots lasers and the other talks to you.
So what's
right?
We can only hope the Emperor never finds it.
A little, slightly different.
Said Lupino. I think someone's following us. I didn't hear anything.
Alright, so yeah, a lot of this is, I think so far it feels like the game has been pretty generous with the amount of stuff that you can skip, like cutscene wise, but I guess it's really trying to make you understand here, because this is sort of the prestige, you know, this is the moment where, oh.
Sorry.
Alright, everybody.
I've started on a bad note, okay?
Yeah.
Alright, I think we're recovering well, though. That exploding raven was in a really bad spot, and I just immediately grabbed it because I'm not good. I was like, let's grab the most dangerous thing to start this fight.
Okay.
Alright, we survived, though.
Damage really at all. So you're
through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. She was curled up.
Because you kind of like, you see what spawns, then you have like a second to kind of think about, and it says skip here, but I can't, so anyway. You see what the game's giving you, and then you kind of like plan out in your head, like, okay, this is the approach I want to take, but sometimes I just grab the thing that's closest to me, and sometimes it's an exploding raven, and sometimes that goes very poorly.
Yeah. It's, well, and I think this is something that you've talked about as well for your own runs, right? Like, kind of a surefire way for you to like get a good PB in this game would It's like the worst thing to tell a speedrunner. You need to like slow down a little, like not even a lot, but just a little cognitively to be like, don't grab the first thing around you in case it's a bomb. But yeah, I mean, because it really can, and as we saw, it does sneak up on you.
Because in my head, it's like buff Shield Raven, Exploding Raven, the buff Warlock things, the fire Warlock things, and then the normal Ravens. Like in my head, that's kind of the formula that I want to take in terms of whatever spawns. That's what I want to take out first. Because the buff Ravens are a nightmare to deal with, and I could also sometimes prioritize taking out the Enchanter Warlock things because they're going to generate even more buff enemies, and then it can get pretty overwhelming pretty quickly, as y'all are going to learn very soon in the very last fight of the game. Like, I will probably die a few times. Hopefully not, but it can be a stressful fight.
Yeah, it can be very difficult. Just cramped spaces, very hectic.
Also, dashing on steps is kind of a pain. Sometimes it drops and sometimes it doesn't. Like, drops the dash.
Yeah, it feels like it's kind of not registering like the height plane you're at, so it thinks it's moving you a normal amount, but you're really just kind of scooching. Just do a little scooch. Yeah, it seems like, probably a good, probably a big point of optimization, right, is like making sure that you're being mindful of the, brief cooldown on dashing.
That was good prioritization by me. Self-pat on back.
Ooh, good.
I got the buff one out of the way, and then just as I grabbed one of the normal Ravens, I saw a shielded one and just kind of instinctively tossed it.
You heard it from the streamer folks. That was in fact good prioritization, which means for the third and maybe final time, please clap.
Oh, they really ought to put a railing on this thing, he thought.
Style. Good. Oh, well.
Dang it. I thought it was more than good. Great. That was Tony the Tiger.
Oh, you could forget that timeless classic.
Anthony Tiger.
Anthony Tiger.
He's pretty old. Oh, I hate this part. Okay, I'm gonna just wait.
Yeah, take it slow.
I'm gonna take damage in this. It's kind of hard not to.
Why did they sting if you didn't pay attention?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of room.
Dashed right into another one.
Well, there you go. Well, you really have to display here for our live studio audience just how dangerous this section of the game is. You did not deserve to dodge that one.
I didn't. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, I'm gonna let this one pass. Okay, now go. Because then this fight becomes hard. Oh, I missed it. Okay, there we go.
Elk, I appreciate it, but I would hope that if one or both of us were ever speedrunning for a live studio audience, I would hope that we were doing a much better game.
Oh, here we go. One hit, one hit, one hit. Get out of here. Love it. There's some fun co-op speedruns out there. I can't think of any that would fall under.
Wow. The style said good, but the game said that had gone beautifully. So I'm going to call that one style beautifully.
Beautifly. Isn't that a Pokemon?
It is. It is a Pokemon. Got that one right.
Thank you. I'm out of water.
Well, you're almost at a run, so if you think about it.
Y'all, shout outs to my dog.
Black feathers everywhere.
Oh yeah, shout out to Remy.
He has not barked a single time during this run, and I did some things to like ensure that he wouldn't. Like I blocked his path to the windows because that's the thing that's going to make him bark. But he's just being a good boy sitting behind me, and so shout out. And I've set myself up for extreme failure, where like in the middle of the final boss, the final fight, he's just gonna lose it, and it's. But all right, we got to go to the base.
Well, at the very least, he was good for 90 minutes, right? So that's something. At the very least.
So if y'all see those Remy heads in chat, that's my Australian Shepherd.
That's Remy.
Randy.
Ramby.
Oh, I hate it. Okay. Not Remy. This fight.
Yeah, you could never.
Okay, we made it.
Got the big Raven. Okay, yeah. That's pretty good. Pretty good handling of the exploding Ravens there. style great. See, here's the thing. It says style great, but then it almost always says perfect underneath. What's the perfect about? Does it just mean you generally perfect?
Maybe it means I don't take damage.
I'm just saying, if it's always perfect, why be like, style? This one impressed me less.
Well, I think it probably has to do with like your combos and like the combo.
Yeah, well,
I'm playing this answer straight, and you're not. I think is what I'm about to learn.
Well, no. I'm fine with it. I just meant, I guess. Sorry, I laughed when you said it had something to do with your combos, because your combo right now is dash one punch, dash one punch, right?
Yeah.
So I love how it's like, you know, it's just unga bunga smash, and the game is
all right.
like, oh,
Listen,
yes,
okay, perfect is
Perfect.
reference to whether you take damage or not during the fight, and everything else is relative to like what kind of combo you're able to like build up over the course of the fight. That is what I believe. That is my
I just
belief
love
system.
just overhead striking everything.
The Crash Bandicoot!
Perfect.
I took damage from that Raven because I couldn't see it because the Crash Bandicoot platform was in the way.
God, you gotta love it. We're playing all the hits here in
I
the
don't know
finale of this game.
This fight stinks. Okay.
All the goofs that we set up.
Okay.
Here we go.
No, don't stop! I was like, keep hitting the one with the shield. Okay. I just want to get through this fight. No! Don't pull it! I was
okay.
I was
You
trying
did
to
pull a bomb there a little bit.
I was trying to pull the Raven, and I pulled the. I'm gonna die here.
Well, hey,
actually, I'm gonna die here.
You know what? Said style great, but this time, for the first time, I've seen imperfect. I love how it's just, now hold on, that's just a binary. It's just perfect or imperfect. It doesn't even be like, you could do better, improve, try again.
Close to the rebel base.
Alright, so I took an intentional death there so that I don't have 5 HP going into this fight. I would rather just die somewhere where it's going to be a quick respawn than try to handle this decently difficult fight. Oh, okay, let me just get out of y'all's way.
The way, when you said that, I thought you were like apologizing to the oh, I'll just get out of y'all's way. Sorry, let me just.
Well, I like dashed out of the way and into the. It was like, you know, when like a bad guy's like backing up and realizing he's in like a bad spot, and then like backs into someone else's chest and like turns around. Like it was kind of that thing right there. It was like, oh, sorry, let me get over here.
The tone started as difficult encounter in a video game, and it ended as ran into a family at Applebee's.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, let me just.
Why? You managed. They started arguing with me. I lost my temper.
Okay. So this is the part where I choose love and love wins.
The stone.
Love wins, baby.
I had a plan.
Look at this evil cat. She's so much better than you at everything. There's no reason she should be.
I like her like collar thing, like when you see like the little images or whatever. What do you call those?
Portrait.
I like the portrait. I like the
try that one again.
I like the pink thing that she's got on there.
I like when they got shapes and they put colors in them.
The Empire had seized his ship.
Yes, Palmer, I totally agree. Like, I can die 16 times here and be like, well, this is all, you know, it's okay.
We're coming apart at the seams.
I got 20 minutes to finish this one level, so we're good.
Yeah. You gotta be like, all right, these 6 deaths. I mean, oldest trick in the book, just call it an RNG manipulation. Everybody loves to laugh at that one.
I enjoy health. Let's add some.
Oh, let's see. Can we get skip 5 out of 5 times?
We absolutely need to, because this is the worst one right here, and we skipped it.
Hey.
That's a doozy. I want to skip both of these for sure.
What do you call it when there's a representation of a person in 2 dimensions? Get back here.
Oh.
Oh, that's pogging off.
Oh, holy okay. Buckets was what I was gonna say.
I know. It's okay. You've said it before.
Yeah, I mean, I borrowed that from I Eat Your Pie. He says holy buckets a lot, and I'm like, I like that. That's a good like cute way to be excited.
Priya, you asked earlier. Sorry, we've been at least I've been delirious and goofy. You asked when this game was released. I believe it was released in 2016.
April 2016.
And we were talking about it earlier that this, I believe, unless Palmer smacks this tidbit of truth out of our hands like an interception, we believe this is the most recent game that is going to be run. So for those of you who saw Willow first, you probably got whiplash when we stepped into the third dimension. Yeah, a lot of the games here come all over the spectrum. But we believe this is the most recent.
Okay, we got the counter there. If you slapped it out of someone's hands, it's more than likely not going to result in an interception. Just let you know. That's just going to be a complete pass.
So,
we call that a pass deflected.
Well, now hold on. What if Palmer slapped it out of your hand, but Palmer's other hand was waiting just underneath?
I'm
so
gonna,
they slap it down into their own hand.
I can't think about I can't think about things like that right now. Okay. Yeah, I was telling. Oh, it's gonna be. Okay, I'm just gonna wait. I think I saw like a YouTube video of both of the Mega Man games, like being like showing off the game from like 2015 for both of those. So I think that would mean that they predate this game. All right, here we go. Rodrigo, where are you in chat? Yo, Rodrigo, give me all your energy. Rodrigo's watched me die in this fight many times. Let's not die this time. Alright, we got an easy enough set of spawns to start, but it is far from over. Alright, here we go. One hit kills until we see the exploding raven. Okay, there's some exploding ravens. So they're still on a timer. Oh, okay.
That's so exploding raven.
Okay. We gotta get out of the corner. Okay, never mind. Bad.
It's okay.
No, we're good. We're good. Oh.
So, well, and this is something we had to show people.
16 minutes.
What it looks like.
Got 16 minutes to win this.
Got a lot of people out there. You know what they're always talking about? What game they're always talking about? Jake, talking about Dark Souls. Talking about you died. This game, you have died. Big innovation. A lot of waves here. This is truly the kind of the final test of a lot of the difficult.
Alright, I'm just gonna cancel my combo. To get those two out of the way. Oh, hell! There's health over there. What do you know?
Whoa! Finally, Peaches to save the. After you disparaged them so early on.
Nope. I don't want to be in the middle. Okay.
Oscari, by invoking it, you're part of the problem.
I see you over there, Buff Raven. Okay, we got one more. No! Get out of there. Okay.
Okay. Buff Raven. Okay. Ooh, new wave. Big hectic.
Don't let it get out of there. Alright, I think it's just these two.
Yeah, it looks like you're winding down.
Alright, we did it. Alright, but time will come when... I'll tell you. I'll just tell you. It'll be here in a couple seconds. When it transitions right here. Time. That's time.
Hey!
Oh boy.
Amazing.
What was the time? I can't. I don't have the stream open because I have a bunch of other stuff.
1:40:32.
That might be a PB. I'm not sure. Very close if it's not.
I think it could be. You still died, but I want to say you died maybe 4 times, maybe 5 times. Not that much relative to some of your other runs.
Yeah, that went pretty well. So now what happens here is that the Ibla Stone it breaks or whatever because of love, and the core I believe now belongs to the Emperor, and we're gonna fly off in our ship as they try to use the core. The core's gonna miss us, the firing of the core. We're like gonna barely miss in some epic, Star Wars kind of way, but they're all gonna get seared like we did in the first chapter. So
yeah, they're gonna do a good, cool, super dope spin maneuver, and they're out of the way. And this was it. This is Stories, the Path of Destinies. You got to say the full thing every time.
I mean, Stories is just like what?
Call it Stories. No one's gonna know what you're talking about. They're gonna think.
So
what, like folklore.
Yeah, I don't have to play through the ending because it's a bunch of stuff that happens here. But I've been TwanM4n, TwanM4n. You can probably see it on the stream, I would assume. Obviously, thank you so much to Palmer and everyone associated with the MiniBOSS run. I enjoyed running this game. This was a lot of fun. Obviously, Skarzard at Skarzard Plays. Excellent job carrying me through this. What a ton of fun. I forget that the controller vibrates there.
I was like, what's that one, bud? What's that one?
It gets me every single time it vibrates on the desk. There's the end. So that's it. That's us. I believe we have Quest 64 next, so it's only gonna get more.
Follow both of us on Twitch.tv.
Yeah. Twitter, Twitch,
or you're
whatever.
a coward. Or you know what? You're probably not a coward. That was mean of me. It's late
Yeah,
and I'm
come on.
speaking out of a different place.
This guy's been up for a long time.
But you still should do that thing that I just said. You
Follow
should
everyone
both
that's
of
doing
us.
everything today.
That's actually true. You should actually kind of go through. But at the very least, we appreciate you all being here, giving style reports, being engaged. It's a long run for a game that is fairly static in its difficulty for most of it. We're kind of in the same zone. So if we didn't have y'all to hang out with us, it's enough to make a person go mad.
Yeah,
As you can tell, partway through, we just started Googling names that were similar to Dwayne. No, but this was fun. Palmer, thank you for putting this together. This is such a super cool marathon. I'll be watching it throughout the day, and I hope that you at home do so as well.
All right. Thank you so much. That's it for us. Bye.
Hogging off.
Hogging off.